when were you diagnosed?
So May of, I was getting this wrong. I kept thinking it was like, I kept saying May of 2015. It's actually May of 2016 because I turned 50 because I was born in 66. And so it was May of 16 when I did. And I was actually having a few issues. And one of them was I had chronic diarrhea for like 2 weeks. And so then what do? You Google like chronic diarrhea. And then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's just like after 2 weeks, contact your doctor. So it's like, I'm pretty much at 2 weeks. I'll send him a portal message. So I send a message, get an appointment with him, go in. We talk through a bunch of stuff, and he goes, here's what I think. He goes, I think you have what's known as traveler's crud. He goes, so I'm going to give you 3 days of antibiotics and hopefully that'll clear it up. And it did. And he goes, because you travel a lot for work and you're drinking different water systems, you're eating like, a lot of restaurant foods and all this stuff. And it's very common for people to get what we call traveler's crud. So I said, okay, I'll go with that. But at the time, his nurse practitioner, Diane Bell, I don't know if I should have said that just now, but basically,
I'll beep it out.
Yeah, she's the one. She's the one who was looking at my chart, and she goes, "Hey, you turn 50 next month." She goes, "You want to schedule your colonoscopy?" And I'm like,
"Do I?"
Sure. So we scheduled it, but Candy and I were going to Costa Rica. It was a surprise present, 50th birthday present for me to go to Costa Rica. So we were there like over my birthday and everything. So I'm like, well, when should we do it? And she goes, well, let's just do it when you come back. So we did it. It was like May, very beginning of May. And I'd also had a little bit of bleeding in my stool. But my doctor and I had talked about that, and that he was thinking the traveler's crud, and he goes, well, you had chronic diarrhea. So like everything's coming out. So then it literally was the day after we got back from Costa Rica was my colonoscopy. So I had to do the whole prep thing. Went out for it. I remember watching at first and then all of a sudden they put me out. Like I was out. And then woke up and I was like, you're just really groggy and everything. And then the doctor who did the procedure is like, so we did have some findings and we've taken a biopsy. It's looking like it's probably cancer, early stages. And I'm still like under anesthesia at this point. And Candy's not in the room or anything.
Oh God.
And I'm just like I couldn't register it at all.
Yeah.
And
it's a stupid time to tell you.
Yeah. And Vermont being what it is, it's the 0 degrees of separation. The nurse who was in the room with us and with me afterwards, I used to work with her years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was doing entertainment and she was a bartender. So like, I remember him like repeating it and I'm just kind of like looking at back and forth between him and her. And she grabbed my hand. And then I looked at her in the eyes when he was finishing saying it. And I said, so what you're telling me is I have cancer? And they both nodded. And then it was just like, then it registered.
Wow.
So that was May of, what's that?
When that happened, because what you're describing right now is anyone who has not been diagnosed with cancer is one of their biggest fears.
Right.
What did it feel as bad as you thought it would feel?
No, because I think there's a lot of like, okay, well what? Like, what is it?
Like
and the thing is like they can't tell you like everything right then and there, because they don't know.
Right.
They've now taken a biopsy.
Right. It could go either way. You're like, ooh, and you're hoping good. So
yeah. But they knew that there was something there, and mine was a stage 2 at the time, and so they knew that it was a little bit more. It was obviously more serious than a polyp, and that's what the majority of people have is like polyps, and the polyps, if go untreated, are what can turn to cancer. So that's why you do the colonoscopy, is because you want to get rid of those polyps. So some people are just prone to getting them, right? And it's just like, oh, we took 5 polyps out, so you're all set, but you have to come back in 5 years.
To get rid of more if they, all right.
Because more than likely there's going to be more. Right. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So with me, then it becomes like, now it's just like you're inundated with information, and like, you don't even know what questions you should be asking at this point, like, because you don't even know. And like, and then you're handed like, this giant binder of information, and they start going through it and everything. Because I was on a clinical trial my first time around, which just meant all the more paperwork. But I wanted to be on it because I was a good fit for the clinical trial, and the level of care, I'd say, is increased when you're on a clinical trial because of the monitoring that they have to do for you. Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm just like, okay, this seems right. The right thing to do. So I did that. But it was shortly after I was diagnosed, and like having multiple appointments, and then learning like what exactly we had, what it entailed, like what the procedures were going to be. And mine was definitely going to be chemo and radiation, and if it didn't clear up, then surgery. And so, we went through all those things, but there's so many questions all the time that I can't speak highly enough about the importance of having a caregiver who is there for you, and able to like take that burden of everything. Because as the person with cancer, you're the one going through it, and sometimes things are just flying over your head.
Yeah,
it's just because you're just you kind of almost feel like you're on autopilot in some ways. It's the caregiver who's catching all of these tidbits and information and everything, and then like raising the hand and saying, okay, what do you mean by this? And you talked about that, and like, can you explain that further? And those types of things. So it becomes like this. It becomes a job. It really becomes a job. And not only for the person going through it, but also for that caregiver. And I'm lucky and blessed enough to have my wife by my side, who is my caregiver and always has been. We had only been together for 9 months when I was first diagnosed in 2015.
Wow.
And I didn't think she was going to stick around.
Wow.
For it. And she goes, oh, no. I am here. I am with you 100% through this with you, and has been ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's really incredible.